Okay. We are live.
All right. All right. I got my finger on the record button. Let me know when you're ready.
Sure.
All right. 3, 2, 1, record.
Cool.
All right. You good?
Yep.
All right. So, I don't know if I asked you. Did I ask you about, we might have done this last time already. Josh, it is summer now.
Yes.
How's your summer been going? Or did I ask you this?
No, you didn't. Summer's been good. I feel like it's it's been so miserably hot where we live in upstate New York that it's like I don't know. I haven't done a whole lot, quite honestly. I've gone golfing twice, which I've never gone golfing more than twice. So I'm hoping to get out one more to set a record for myself. But other than that, there hasn't been much. I've just been working. I'm going on a trip this upcoming weekend to Atlantic City, which will be fun. But summer's been good. It was nice this past weekend, just that it was, I don't know, what was it, like 80 instead of 95. So I was actually able to like go outside and enjoy the weather, but not too much to talk about, honestly. Just been working like any middle-aged man. Am I a middle-aged man at this point? Or am I a young
No.
adult? I don't know what that's I don't know how to categorize that, but yeah. What about you? How's your summer been?
It's been good. I'm really excited to be going on this New Jersey trip for a long weekend coming up this next week, just with my family and everyone. Just because I am such a regimented person, as I have like a routine every day, every weekend, everything's always planned out, and everything's good. Work has been great. I've been pretty consistent with everything that I'm doing, just routine wise. And I've been watching a lot of movies when I get time in, but man, I am just feeling it so much that I need to get away for an extended period of time. I haven't done any kind of vacation yet. We've done some day trips here and there, and we've been going to wineries and stuff, but on the weekends, yeah, no, though, I definitely am feeling it where I'm usually such a regimented, routine person, same thing every day, and I'm just feeling like, yeah, no, I need to do something different. So I'm super excited to be getting on this trip of just a
Cool.
little bit of yeah.
That's awesome. It's amazing. I was thinking about this the last couple weeks that like summer's, as a thing as a kid when you go to school, summer's just naturally, when you're younger at least, it's just an enjoyable thing. It's like, okay, cool, it's summer now, don't have school, can do whatever I want, which for me in high school or middle, like, I was playing video games, playing with my neighbors, doing whatever. So now you kind of, at least for me, I guess this is kind of my question to you is like, I always get excited at the beginning of the summer because it's like that inner kid in me is like, oh, it's summer, summer's fun. But when you're an adult, there's no difference anymore. Like the nicer weather comes, right? But
Right.
other than that, it's like your day to day doesn't really change. You're still working. And so I was like trying to think like what can I do to make summer like more exciting again so I can feel like a kid again. It's like, yeah, you can plan a couple trips, but like I don't know. I just don't think summer will ever hit the same like as an adult now, unless you go and be a teacher, right? And then you're
Right.
literally in the same thing where it's like, okay, cool, you got summer vacation again. But even as a teacher, you still probably plan all your lessons for the upcoming year, got to decorate your classroom, get all the materials ready. So it's just like, I don't know. It was kind of depressing thinking about it. It's like summer has lost a little bit of its luster and might not ever feel the same as it was when we were kids, just because we're not kids anymore. We're adults, and that makes me sad. But
Jesus, and I thought I was the depressing, cynical one on this show.
I'm just
Shit.
saying.
All the wonder is gone in the world. No, I yeah, no, you're right though. It's not the same as when you were a kid, and obviously you took for granted so much back then, where it was like you get 3 months when you actually just don't have to do anything at all. I remember when I was a kid, someone told me that I always thought like summer vacation was a couple months long or like the entire season of summer, or I don't know. I thought it was like way longer than it actually was. And I remember someone told me, I think it was my mom, said, no, summer's only like your summer vacation's only about 5 weeks or something, which is still a long time. Or I don't know. I don't know how long it was.
I don't even remember anymore, but I thought it was longer than that. But I don't
Point
remember.
is, it was way less than I thought. It was like I get off for an entire year or something. I don't know. And I remember as a kid, I broke down crying because I realized summer wasn't like I only get like 3 months off. But yeah, no, I do just really appreciate the warm weather. I can be in 90 degrees
For sure.
every day. I never want to see snow again. That's a big thing about me. And the days, the sun doesn't go down until super later. So just that alone for
Well,
me
does
is,
that not make you sad anymore either? Because that's a whole nother thing we could talk about. Is we used to, as kids, look forward to winter and snow days, and now I'm like, I'm the same. I think most people are, where it's like, I'll go on vacation to Colorado to go snowboarding in the mountains if I want to, and I'll do it once a year. Other than that, I don't want to live there. I don't want to have to shovel my way out of my front door to get
right.
to work in the morning, right? Like, and that's a whole nother thing. It's like, man, we used to be so excited for snow and snow days and all that. Now it's just like, dude, yeah, I think anybody our age, like once you get past that, the school phase, you're done. You're like, I don't need to deal with the repercussions of snow falling on the ground. No thanks.
Yeah, no, I've never been a, I guess, no, I'm lying. I did enjoy the snow when I was a kid, just like anyone else. But it
Yeah.
quickly, I became, no, I can't do this anymore.
Yep.
It's the most inconvenient thing. I hate the cold weather. I never want to go outside. So yeah, but that's my bright spot for the episode is, yeah, I like the warm weather, and that's
Me
about as
too. Me too. Sorry to
optimistic.
get so cynical.
No, we can go more cynical. So
No, no,
speaking
no,
of
no.
which,
Oh god.
this was something I wanted to talk to you about today because we didn't get a chance to do it on the last episode. But this is something that's been in the news a little bit, some gaming things. So, the new Grand Theft Auto 6, it's always been a question, I feel like, of when's GTA 6 coming out. No one ever really knows. It's still kind of that we've known that they're kind of working on it. But essentially, there was this story that kind of became a little clickbaity and was bubbling up a little bit. It was announced that the protagonist of GTA 6 is going to be a female. And you can already imagine all of the fucking articles and subreddits and fucking rage that was building up over this. So I know you and I had a discussion about GTA and just the history of like,
We did talk about that recently, didn't we?
yeah, and I just wanted to talk about that a little bit, but first, just on your initial reactions, what do you, now I know you're not the biggest GTA fan or just the biggest player of it, but what do you think about when you start seeing these headlines that GTA is now going with a female protagonist for pretty much the follow-up to one of the biggest games of all time?
Sure. So, I have no problem with it. What's the only shocking thing to me is normally, so a game like Tomb Raider, right? I know you probably have never played Tomb Raider, but most people are familiar with it.
Right.
Lara Croft, she's the
Mhm.
main character, right? So like that's like a single player game, but it's a very specific story. Um, and it's a story about Lara. And I feel like nobody ever has problems or has a problem with that. So I guess my question is, what is everybody's problem if GTA 6 decides to do a female protagonist? It's like as far as what I know from GTA, it's like each GTA, it's kind of like there's different characters in each one. It's not like a story that's like same with Assassin's Creed, right? It's like, yeah, it's about assassins, but each one is about like a different one of the assassins, right?
Right.
What the only shocking thing to me is I was under the impression, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, that GTA being a big open world game, um kind of like Skyrim in a sense too, where normally it's like, okay, you create a story, but it's actually normally about like all of these other people, and then you're kind of like X, like your character's name is X while they're writing the story. And what these games normally allow you to do is you just create whatever your character you want to be. You can be a girl, you can be a boy, you can call it whatever you want, you can look however you want. Like Skyrim's the same, like you pick your race, and
Hmm.
by race it's like reptiles and amphibians, and you could be a lion. I forget all the names of, like, it's like World of Warcraft, right? You can be a
Right.
rhino, you can be a mage, and you can be a girl or a guy, it doesn't matter. It's like your character specifically is like the hero, but like, and that's kind of how they normally refer to you, right? You're the hero of Skyrim, or you're the hero of GTA 6 or whatever, but you get to pick. So I was under the impression, because I did see this too, um I don't know, I guess I was a little bit confused. I always assumed, this is going to be probably one of the few times that a little bit more about a video game than I do. What was the last Grand Theft Auto that you like played?
So I bought I did the midnight release of GTA 5 when it came out. God, how long ago was that? That must have been 2010, 11? I don't even know. It was a long time ago, GTA 5. But
So did you create your own character? Like, was there like a screen at the beginning of the game where it was like, make your character, or did you just start the game and you were
no,
just, your guy's name was Joe and you're playing as Joe?
no, so you played in GTA 5, you played as the main characters. There was a campaign, but and a story to it and missions you could go on, but like most open world games, I feel like you have the option to just play around in the world, do side quests, build up your money or your character, or you can play along with the story, but you're always the main character. Like that's your character model. But that being said, you can change their hair, you can change their clothes, you can change certain things about their appearance, but you're always based on like the main character models. In GTA 5, they did something a little different because you were playing three different characters, but they were still main characters in the campaign, if that makes sense.
Okay. So a female main character for first time. It seems like from what I'm reading as well that it's like, I mean, I'm just not understanding the problem that people are having. I just
So,
feel like people are just like finding a reason to be mad because we need something new to be mad about. Like, if the makers of Grand Theft Auto have decided that they want to tell a story about a female protagonist, what's the issue? Like, I don't understand. Like, these games have been great. Everybody loves these games, right?
mhm.
Like, so I mean, and it seems like you'll still be able to create your own character. So, like, if you have such a problem, I guess don't play the storyline of the main character. Just make your own character and go to strip clubs and steal people's cars and do what you normally do. I just don't, once again, see the problem with everybody
Of
freaking
course.
out. It's like, I don't know.
Well,
Like, could you imagine if people, like, what happens in if they made a new Tomb Raider and it wasn't Lara Croft, right?
right.
Like, everybody would probably freak out. And it's like, it's just like, but that's because, like, Tomb Raider is about Lara Croft. As far as I know, GTA 6 is, the Grand Theft Auto series has always been about different characters. So if they're bringing in a new character, it's a female protagonist. What's the problem? I don't see the problem.
So here's the problem, or at least what people are saying.
Let me hear it.
So there was this specific article that was going around that everyone was pointing to. When
Okay.
I Google GTA 6 protagonist, this is the first article I get from Den of Geek is the website. And the
Okay.
headline is why GTA 6's female protagonist is a small part of more important changes. So the accusations and what's going to go around online is that this is Rockstar being woke, and they need to be woke. Like, just they the same thing happened. This is not new to gaming, right? This is not new to like other fandoms. Star Wars with Rey, like just getting backlash. It's like everything has to be girl power. The idea, this was even kind of a topic when Gene and I were talking about the new Predator movie, the main and protagonist being a female. So whenever I get with Laura Croft, that's a story in a game where it's always been a woman
Yes.
protagonist. But and again, I am not on the side of this argument, but what the Twitter mob and the anti woke mob uh, argument always is that, oh, these are just the companies and like everyone just trying to be woke, like just to score brownie points with the public.
I get
But
it now.
this article is so misleading, this headline, and everyone's been talking about this headline from Den of Geek. So it makes the headline purposely clickbaity, why GTA's female protagonist is a small part of more important changes, like insinuating that Rockstar is like trying to make this big moral stance of going woke by making a female Yath Queen protagonist as the new GTA 6. And the entire article basically is talking about how, yes, they just announced that they're going to make their GTA 6 protagonist female, probably just because they had a good story with a female character. And then it's going into like other things about the actual company Rockstar, just about like their work culture, like kind of that how they put so much of their employees under a lot of pressure, and the stories have nothing to do with each other. So they purposely this website purposely put this article in to be clickbaity, to make it sound like they were purposely making the protagonist female to be woke. And it was very funny to me, like people getting very upset about this announcement, because in my mind, GTA, and again, I'm not a big gamer, but GTA was, man, I was on that train. That's like a normie gamer like
For sure. I
type
mean,
thing.
everybody loved those games when they were coming out. And I mean, there's still been everybody's on the edge of their seat waiting for more information on GTA 6.
It
Like
was the biggest,
it,
it was one of the biggest games. I mean, San Andreas, oh my God, PlayStation 2 was such a
well,
big part of my childhood. And then you get GTA 5 when I think I was in high school at the time, and it was one of the biggest things ever. I mean, I remember going to that midnight release. I remember playing that game until 3 a.m, doing all the cheat codes. And that's the thing too about GTA, a lot of the games, they're all such great stories. It really was like, I remember playing as Franklin and the other two characters in GTA 5, and it felt like I was really participating in an interactive movie because these stories were so fun that they were telling. But so yeah, I mean, it's not like it's new to they had the Ballad of Gay Tony. Like they had other games that like with other types of people. So, but what I was gonna say was, what's the funniest thing to me about all of this is that everyone's getting mad about like thinking that Rockstar is going woke by having GTA 6 be a female protagonist. When you think about the GTA games and all of the main characters, they're not exactly the best people and the most like morally rich characters in these stories. I'm just picturing, what do they think is the case here? Do they think all of the woke Twitter feminists are going to be like, yes, queen, when they find out? Like, have they never heard of GTA before? Do they not know what the content of these characters are and what their stories are? Let me tell you something. When this female protagonist, when this game comes out, they're not even going to realize this woman, this female protagonist, is going to be the most grotesque, the most despicable, the most horrible human being. She's going to be a sassy hooker on the street. She's going to be
that's what I'm
pimping
thinking.
and slaying. All of like, I'm just picturing all the feminists that never knew what GTA 6 was like. Yeah, like, what is this? Like, this is your new role model for women, is going to be this badass bitch who's a disgusting person that you're not going to want to like be a role model, like we look to our GTA 6 characters for our moral compass. So that's just kind of what went through my mind when all this was coming up.
It's funny too because a lot of video games developers have a problem with like where do they draw that line, right? Because if they make a character like Lara Croft luckily has kind of been um I don't know, she's like such an old character that she's able to kind of get away with it, but I know when they were redoing hers it was like okay, like they need to be careful to not overly sexualize women in a video game at this
Sure.
point because if they do, they're going to get called out on it and called out on it bad. But at the same time, nobody wants to. I don't want to say nobody. I think a lot of people wouldn't be super interested in playing this big butch like you know what I mean? Like it'll be
Right.
interesting because to me, it's like, yeah, with all the protagonists in Grand Theft Auto, it's like it wouldn't make sense if this girl was anything but what you just described. Because it's also like if you're gonna be hitting people with baseball bats to get them out of the car, like you have to have some questionable morals. So that's
Of
like that's
course.
why all of the protagonists in those like in the series has always been that way. But anyway, what I wanted to touch on real quick, kind of going back to why we started talking about this in the first place, is just with a series like Grand Theft Auto, right? Like it doesn't have a set character, right? So I'm trying to think, like
I mean, it
with
does.
well, it does, but it so okay, for instance, The Last of Us, right? You
Right.
know, we're talking I hate the word, we're talking about being woke, right? Like, are they
I know.
doing this to be
It's lost all
woke?
meaning.
Do they just have a good right? So it's like I can enjoy a storyline. I don't care what woke stuff you put in there. If it's a good story, it's a good story. If you want to put in stuff about everything that's going on in society and the world today, that's fine. Just make it a good story, right? So I'm kind of in the middle here where I've never really played Grand Theft Auto, but I can see why people might be like, oh, they're just doing this because they're trying to be relevant and do what all these other people are doing and yeah, be woke, whatever. Um, but also at the same time, maybe they just have a good story that they want to tell with a girl
And
and
I think that's
and
probably
go
the
for it,
case.
right? But I will say I can understand the opposite side where people are a little nervous because that's what, in my opinion, oh, what's the developer's name? I'm blanking on it. Whoever did The
Rockstar.
Last of Us Part 2.
Oh,
No,
Naughty
not
Dog.
Rockstar. Naughty Dog, thank you. My goodness. Right. So Naughty Dog and The Last of Us 2, a lot of people felt like they had a lot of like there was a lot of different like lesbian and gay characters, which is I think great and fine, but I feel like that took priority over the story. Like The Last
Exactly.
of Us, the first story was about Ellie and it was about Joel and it was about their story as two characters. He had lost his daughter, she had never had a father or a mother figure and they were kind of like coming together going through this world together that was broken and all of this and it was fantastic and it was wonderful and it was one of my favorite games that I played. I thought it was fantastic. And then the second one came out and they just immediately, spoiler alert, at this point it's been out for I don't know 2-3 years, immediately killed Joel in the most untasteful way ever.
Right.
Like just gets
A
demolished.
baseball bat to
And
the head wasn't a
and
tasteful death,
yeah,
Josh.
what was it? It was a golf club, actually. I was it a golf?
Oh.
It doesn't matter. It was whatever. He got just destroyed right at the beginning of the game. And then it was just like, yeah, it just felt like they were just putting it. Now, I know that might be a hot take for some. I know some people really enjoyed The Last of Us Part 2. Lord, I have no idea how. It did not connect with me. It was never a game. Both of those games were never a game about the gameplay, right? It's very simple gameplay for me, where it's just like the combat's very simple, the crafting system's very simple, and so that game I felt did what people are fearing might happen with Grand Theft Auto, is that their focus is just getting all of this propaganda and trying to get their message across about. I wish there was a better way we could put it
We're
because
on
I
the
just
right
hate.
side of our political
Yeah, right.
because everyone cares
Yeah.
about what a video game studio's stance on like
Exactly, and it's like,
political
dude,
issues
just we
are.
don't care. Like, I don't care, like, just tell a good story, man, and if your story incorporates, like, those kinds of themes, Personally, I'm fine with that. Like, that's fine. I think most people are. I think a lot of people get thrown, like, I think it's easy for people to now throw me in the bucket of being like, oh, Josh didn't like The Last of Us Part 2 because he doesn't support the LGBTQ community. And he does
Sure.
right. And it's like, dude, it has nothing to do with that.
It
I'm
was not
fine with
necessary
all
to the
those.
story. It
I
seemed
felt that the
pandering.
story lacked, and it might have been because they tried to do all of this. Honestly, it might not have been because of any of that. Might have just been because they just wrote a crappy story.
Right.
They just wrote a crappy story because they just, I don't know why, they just did. And it had nothing to do even with the fact that they were trying to put all these other themes and stuff into it. So I understand some people's concern, but at the same time, chill, relax. It hasn't come out yet. And also, I have more hope for it because Grand Theft Auto has like standalone stories like each game. It's not this like concurrent story that's continuing to flow. They might bring in some old characters, but it's like we can introduce some new characters and it can be a girl and it could be a good story. So that's kind of my two thoughts on that at least.
Yeah, and I think you bringing up The Last of Us Part 2 is actually a great example of that, where it seemed like, at least I didn't play it, but it seemed like the narrative was, from people like you and other people that I listened to, it seems like it was kind of a they may have just been focusing a little bit more on working in some kind of representation thing. And again, that's nothing that I don't like. I like to see that stuff, just all the disclaimers aside, I like to see other stories from different perspectives and different people and yada yada yada. But
Sure.
like, perfect example that first comes to my mind is, I'm a big fan of the Harley Quinn animated show on HBO Max that's been going on. And in that show, Harley Quinn, spoilers, is a lesbian with Poison Ivy. And I actually think that was such a perfect story arc.
That makes sense a
She
lot in my
finds
head.
out
Like,
that she's a lesbian. It the fantasy is just fantastic. But she's a lesbian at the end with Poison Ivy, and I was like, I fucking love that. It made so much sense for the story that they were telling in the show, and it just added so much to it. And it was like a different take. It worked so much. But then you get into other things. I mean, I can't think of too many examples where it just feels like, oh, they're just doing this to do it. I guess I'll point to, like, Disney is a big culprit of this, but not in so much that it's like they want to have their cake and eat it too, where there was a big controversy around the new Buzz Lightyear movie where there was a gay kiss, but apparently there was like a lesbian kiss, but it was so brief and so barely even acknowledged that they kind of wanted to act like they were getting woke points and, oh, the first gay Disney character on screen and a big lie. They've been doing that for years now. And they can just ship it over to China and just chop it out. It's the same thing with Star Wars. At the end of Rise of Skywalker, there was a lesbian kiss in the background, barely see it. So there are things where it's like, okay, you're definitely just a corporation trying to work this in, and it has nothing to do with, it's not. But yeah, so it is an interesting thing. I just, again, just the idea of, you want, it's like we want our representation of women in GTA. So it's like we need a woman that is a total scumbag menace to society. We want to show that women can be degenerate scumbags too. That is what we believe here at Rockstar Games. It's like, what are they going to have? They're going to have a mission where you need to, like, organize a protest to your local senator's office, and then the GTA 6 character, you're a hooker and you, like, run through the entire fucking protest in the middle of the street. I don't know, like, what they're expecting these people. So yeah, I'm not mad about it at all, and I'm happy to see what they do with it. So yeah, I don't know. There are it made me think of, too, remember that, this is just a whole different thing, but do you remember that I was thinking about, like, I used to play a lot of GTA and all those games when I was a kid, and also, basic normie gaming stuff. I also did a lot of COD. What was the game, the Call of Duty game, this famous, never would have been made today if they did it again, that mission in the
oh man,
airport?
no Russian, I believe is the
Yes.
name, or no Russia, no Russian, something like that. Yeah.
So what was the just this was a so they your mission is to basically shoot up an airport or something. You're going
Yeah,
through an airport.
so it is, yeah.
But
It's been a long time, but I believe you were an American trying to fit in and pretend that you were like with this like Russian thing. And so like part of the way to like earn their trust is you had to go in and do this. And they ended up like you go through the whole mission and yeah, you just absolutely just shoot up an airport. And then at the end, they find out that you're a traitor anyway, and they shoot you and leave. So that mission brought up a lot of controversies. It was actually like way later, I feel like the game came out and was out for a while, and it wasn't until like years later that like news and people started picking up on it like, yo, this mission's messed up. And it
well,
was like, yeah, kind of is.
I remember it so vividly, like going through this airport, and man, what a great fucking game. But going through, and you're
It
just
was.
mercilessly massacring all these people. And I do remember there was a part, and I think I'm remembering this correctly. I really don't know. But in that mission, you go through the airport, and there's a moment where like you're all like you get everything done, you're going past a certain part, and there is a group of innocent bystanders all sitting around in a circle, like crouched down, like scared for their lives. And the game literally gives you a choice, or you have an option to just walk by them or gun them all down like a sociopath. And if you don't think every fucking 10-year-old and their mother sitting in their basement would not have just pulled the trigger finger on all of those people, and I did, and it's just, I don't know, man. It really does, like, when you think about it. I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but just it really does like toe that line of, whoa, man, that's rough. But I mean, I don't know. I'm very free, whatever. I think I don't really care. But yeah, man, I got flashback to that, like, whoa, the famous no Russian mission.
Yeah, I can't even remember what my reaction was. I'd like to pretend that I was some upstanding citizen, and I really can't remember. I feel like if I had to guess what my reaction was, it was probably honestly at first do nothing, and then see, can I shoot these guys? And then I don't think the game lets you. And then probably I was just like, oh, whatever, it's a game, and just start. I'm so ashamed to even say that, but yeah, I mean, I really don't remember. I hope I didn't just like start pulling the trigger right away, just like a maniac, and just
Cut to
like
like
I
12-year-old Josh, how it actually happened. You're like
yeah,
jumping on
it's
your couch, like trigger happy. You're
oh my
teabagging the dead
no
bodies, like
no no.
woo.
Oh man, that's it, and it's crazy because I just it like I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I remember like it didn't have an impact on me. Like I didn't
No,
play that mission and go like, yikes, right? Or like, oh, that was a ton of fun. I want to replay that one again. It was just like, okay, I'm just playing through the Call of Duty story.
right,
I don't remember feeling any type of way. It wasn't until I got older and realized, like, okay, like that is that's a serious hot like topic right there. Like
of
that's
course.
like I don't know. I think when I was a kid playing video games, everything that happened in a video game was fake, and I never really drew lines to real
Yeah,
life.
of
But
course.
now if I were to play a mission like that, like obviously that would be like, yo, that could happen in real life,
Like
right?
you could
Like
not
that,
make that
like
game again today.
yeah, like there was no way. It's like, yeah, you couldn't make a mission going into a school and doing anything like that either.
Oh,
It's
they've
like,
made it.
geez, man. So yeah,
Yeah,
but great game overall. I did enjoy Modern Warfare 2.
yeah, when it comes to, I mean, this is a whole other thing I didn't want to get into because we're going to get into something else in a second that I had to talk to you about. But
Mm,
I always of the belief when it comes to movies, when it comes to games, when it comes to influence on, can we blame the media and entertainment? I'm always of the belief that I'm never going to pretend like movies and video games and things can influence people. Like when you're showing a movie about like and you're trying to have a message at the end of the movie, that's influence. You're trying to send a message. You're trying to influence the audience. That's just art. So, but I will say when it comes to, is having this mission in an airport where kids are going to like you're going to be gunning down innocent people, could that supposedly influence someone, a child, into running into a school, with those same type of intentions? My argument is always if that is if I was going to be influenced by a video game or a movie by seeing some violent imagery and and then I was going to recreate that in real life, it's only a matter if I'm that impressionable, it's only a matter of time before something, if it's not Call of Duty, if it's not GTA,
It's true.
something's going to trigger that. So I
Yes.
always am very like, yeah, I don't know. I'm never, but anyway. So I needed to talk to you. Speaking going down this dark video game path,
No, yep.
I needed to talk to you, and I'm sure you know a lot about this topic. I've already clued you in on what it is. But so there's this practice in video game streaming culture
Mm,
that has been a big topic for years now, and it's honestly, I've only heard about it recently, but it has been coming up a little bit more and more. It just happened again recently to some people. But it's this, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, we're going to be talking about swatting. So I just learned about what swatting was. It's been coming up in the news a lot recently, and apparently it's been happening for years. So essentially, for those who don't know, swatting is the practice of, if you're a gamer and you're live streaming and you have someone in the chat, you have a troll, that person will somehow dox you, find your address, and they will send police to that streamer's house, and with the hope that during their stream, it's like a prank. The police will be sent to their house, like within riot gear or something, saying like, "Oh, this person is on stream," or "This person in this house has got a gun." And there's been multiple, like over the years, cases of streamers in the middle of stream, like literal cops, like coming in and busting into their homes while they were streaming live, and it's all just this hoax. It's like calling it a bomb threat, but you're seeing it live on a streamer. So, Josh, what do you know about swatting? Give me the idea, and why have you not told me about it sooner?
Yeah, sorry. I've known about it since since I started watching streaming. It's just something that excuse me, you've seen happen and you know happens. I just kind of assumed you knew, honestly. So I'm sorry I didn't bring it up sooner. Yeah, it's terrible because it's scary in a lot of different senses. Number one, what you just said, right? Somebody needs to DDoS or whatever it's called. Like somehow they're like getting into your system and getting enough information that they know where you live. First of all, right? So we're just talking about a complete stranger, right, who is in your stream, and somehow they're able to get enough information to find out where you live, which is scary enough to think about. That if somebody really wants to find out where you are, they can do it.
Yeah.
Secondly, after that, in order to get swatted, right, you can't just call 911 and say, "Hey, here's the address. I heard gunshots.
Right.
Hey, he's got a gun. They're just going to call the police." You need to give a situation that is so extreme that they're sending a van full of the SWAT team with riot gear to break down your house. So I can't even imagine what they're saying on these 911 phone calls, whether it's a bomb, whether it's a hostage situation. Now that wouldn't make sense either, because they wouldn't just like I can't even imagine what they come up with to get them to send the SWAT team.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can see there's so many videos too. It's crazy. I just can't understand how somebody gets to a point. I have to think that whoever does this, it can't be a prank in their head, right? Like, unless you're so delusional about what a prank is that you're literally putting lives at risk and you're wasting huge resources, right? You're
Right.
literally having a whole SWAT team show up to a person's door that you know nothing's going on at. Like, these guys, I'm sure, they don't do something on a day to day, but to have them get all dressed up and ready to go in there, like, that's just a huge waste of their time and resources, and it just dumbfounds me. And there's some scary videos, dude. There are some guys who you can see them on camera and all of a sudden they'll like kind of start looking around and they take off their headset and they're like,
Oh
what's going
God.
on? And some guys will realize that, like, guys, I think I'm getting swatted. And they'll immediately like put their headset and they're just on the ground right away, right? Like they don't even want to like mess with it. Other guys, like, lots of times these guys have headsets that are, pretty soundproof. And so lots of times it takes them banging on the door or basically breaking down their door, and they bust through the room and they just like, just the sheer panic in their eyes. Like I can't imagine. It was always like a slight fear of mine when I stream, but also like it's kind of, I don't know how rare it is. In my head, it's kind of like getting struck by lightning. Like, yeah, there's a chance, but like you got to be pretty unlucky at the same time. I don't know what the actual statistics are compared to getting swatted on Twitch and getting struck by lightning, but it's a pretty rare occurrence, I feel like, for the most part, but it is like you can't imagine. And then just everything in between, like, I don't know, Dr. Disrespect. There's a video on YouTube, you can find it. He plays a character too. So he rarely breaks character. He's pretty good at when he's streaming, he's
Yes,
Dr.
yes. I do
Disrespect.
remember this.
And he had a situation where you could tell something was going on. He just kind of left his desk and he came back. I think his sunglasses were off and his like wig was off, right? Which is all
Right.
part of his character.
Which
So like,
now it's getting serious.
exactly. So I think he like the only time I've really seen Dr. Disrespect, or Guy Beam is the actual guy's name, right? Is we could talk about this another day if you didn't hear about this. He had a whole confession on stream when he like cheated on his wife. I
Right,
don't
I
know if you
remember
heard
that.
about that. Okay. And he came on and that was I earned so much respect from him or for him when he kind of came out. Just the way he did that. I mean, he didn't and he was, I mean, it seemed very sincere from my perspective. So I'm hoping obviously it was sincere. It was sincere. But yeah, he came back down from like upstairs or whatever and he was like, "Guys, somebody just shot at my house."
Oh,
Like somebody just shot at our upstairs. There's broken windows. And he was definitely, like pissed, shocked, scared. I don't know. And it's just like, it could have been the same thing, right? This person got his information, found his address. Instead of calling a SWAT team on him, he went over there by himself. And I don't know, once again, if this guy's like thinks that's funny, thinks it's a prank, a shoot, like, or if this guy was actually trying to harm somebody, if it was completely random and Dr. Disrespect just lives in a bad neighborhood, I doubt it. But it's scary to think about, and I don't understand. And it's so hard from what I've heard for the people, like the police, to find these people too, right? Like they're always
yes.
calling, and it's hard to like find out who did it and get them in trouble, and it sucks. So
Yeah, there was a big story recently, I guess these two prominent streamers that just happened to Aiden Ross and I Show Speed are these two guys apparently just separately it happened
okay,
to. And there was even allegations about the one guy, I forget which one. There were allegations that he like it was all staged and he swatted himself or something. Now that's a thing, like for
that's
attention.
even
It's like
yikes.
what is real anymore? You just don't know. So yeah, it's been this whole thing. I watched this whole video on it, apparently, and yeah, I didn't know if you knew this. XQC, apparently he was getting swatted so consistently for like he was saying every other day. He ended up moving back to Canada, where he's originally from, I guess. He left the United States because of swatting. I don't know if you knew that, but
No, I did. I just like wonder, like, can they? It's like so frustrating. Like, if you're XQC, can you call your local police department? Can you call your whoever and just be like, "Hey, like I want to try to make this as easy for you guys as possible. Just so you know, I'm a streamer for a living. Everybody on the internet is a freaking idiot, and they're gonna call and say this address, something crazy's happening." And then like, hey, you guys can like come, like I just don't know what the protocol is at. It's like if you get a call, you have to treat it serious and you have to break down this guy's door, even though this is the 5th time we've done this now, and he's never building a bomb in his apartment, but we have to bust down his door. Like, can he not just call and be like, guys, listen, just call me, or like knock on my door, I'll let you in and you can see, so we can avoid this whole like bringing a whole van of a SWAT team. I don't know. It's crazy to me.
Can you, but here's the thing though. Let's say I'm a big streamer and I know that this is a possibility. Maybe it's happened to me before. I just moved to this new neighborhood. Can you imagine that phone call to your local police department? you be XQC and I'll be a police officer, okay? And pretend to call my the local police department. I'm the cop.
I'm gonna talk to you in person. I'm not even gonna call. I'm gonna be like, hey, so I just wanted to reach out because 2 or 3 times now, I've had the SWAT team show up to my place. I just wanted to let you guys know that for my profession and my job, I'm a streamer and I stream video games on the internet. Yeah, it's when I literally play video games on the internet and people pay me for it.
And what? Are you a hooker?
Yeah, they pay. No. Shut up.
What
it's
is
like
this?
YouTube. Have you ever seen YouTube? I'm a YouTuber.
I've seen who?
You are not that much of a boomer as a police officer that you don't know what a YouTuber is. That is a accepted term. I'm a YouTuber, okay? I'm a YouTuber. People are calling you guys saying that I'm building a bomb or something. So can we just avoid you guys all coming to my doorstep every other week?
Sir, do you have alcohol on your breath?
I hate you so much.
Can you step out of the car, please?
But legitimately, is that not a conversation that you can have? Like,
I guess.
In my head, I would try. I would at least try. And they'd be like, hey, listen, I appreciate it, but like, no, we have to bust down your door. And you just go, okay, I guess you can bust down my door then.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. It's just insane to me.
No, that makes sense. No, I get what you mean though. You would think, here's what I don't understand about it. When I was actually thinking about this a lot because I know and this, you don't need to have any experience in like emergency services to think this through. But so I was thinking, okay, so I dox you, right? I'm the person, I'm the hacker, I'm the troll in the chat, and I dox you. And I call, like, these people, I guess they must not be dialing 911. They must be dialing, they have to actually probably look up their local police department phone number. Because if you're in Kansas and I'm in Virginia, if I dial 911, blocked number or not, it goes to your local police department. I don't think you can be like, hey, can you transfer me to the Kansas City Police Department? You know, like if you call 911, it's going to your 911 in your area. So they must have to just be dialing into their local police department.
That's a good point.
I was thinking about that. Even if you know their address, you dial that number, it's going to your, you know what I mean? That's where it was weird.
Well, if they have the address, right? Like if they know XQC lives in, you know, whatever California, then they can just Google what's the police station there. They can get a phone number and they can call that way. Yeah, I don't know. But we're also talking about somebody who knows how to DDoS or DDoS, whatever the heck. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. But doxing, whatever. I'm no hacker. I don't know how hard that is. Maybe somebody's on listening is like, no, it's really not that hard. In my head, you're smart enough to figure out that, so you can figure out how to call their local police department to, you know, get in contact with them, since you can't call 911 because you live in Kansas or whatever. So
right, that's a good point. You know, it was funny. I was watching this video and just about swatting and everything. There was this famous, I didn't write down the name, but apparently this guy was a famous in IRL, in real life streamer. And he was always just walking around, and the video was saying that. This is why, like, I can't believe when we were walking around TwitchCon, right? I remember when we were waiting for Tim the Tatman in line, there was people just constantly everywhere at TwitchCon just on their phones streaming in real life, like just on their phones. And there were these two girls like sitting in front of us in the line, and they were like streaming to like a full chat, all these followers in real life. And that what the guy was saying in this video was, think about it. If you're an in real life streamer, it's so, you know, if you do it all the time and you're constantly in your local area, it's 1,000 times easier to dox you if you're interacting with the public, going on public places. You don't even have to be a hacker to know where you are, where you're
Yeah.
like living in your facility. This guy was streaming in real life and he got swatted almost every day for a month. It was this story. Like every day, it was all these video clips. He was at the barber and a cop would just walk in and be like, did he threaten you, ma'am, or something? Like, we got a call. So, and there was also this whole story about, I didn't even know if you know this, apparently Justin Khan, the founder of Twitch, he was actually famously swatted before Twitch was even a thing, and it apparently almost ended Twitch before Twitch even started. Like, it was Twitch used to be like Justin TV or something, and it was basically
Yes.
yeah, and he basically, the founder was being swatted when before Twitch even took off, and it
Oh
almost
my
apparently
gosh.
ended all of Twitch. So it's wild, man. And then there was this whole story I was this guy referenced. Apparently, what happened was this was one of the first occurrences where someone actually tragically got shot and killed from a swatting. So it was a Call of Duty game, and these two streamers were arguing, and I'm watching this video and it's like, the very like scary, true crime documentary, murder and mayhem. And they were arguing over $1.50 bet they had. And the person swatted the other person and they had an old address. And they went to the wrong house and shot this guy. And I'm like,
So like this is not a joke, man, right?
no.
Like
It just
it's what just blows my mind. I can't understand why people even think it's remotely funny to try to do this.
Well, they charged the guy. I mean, at least they something like, I mean, they got that guy that did the swatting, the Call of Duty streamer. He got like 10 years, and rightfully so. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
dude,
good.
I know it is. Yeah, they were saying it is very hard to find these people with VPNs and proxy servers and stuff. So yeah, man, it is scary out there, and it's weird that this has been popping up in the news more and more, as it's always still been a problem. But damn, it's wild out there. But
Yep.
it's funny,
It's not going to stop anytime soon, I don't think either.
There was that story, of course, this week about, I started laughing when I was watching, like, not because of just with these Twitch swatting things, these cases coming up, and then there was that whole story about, Trump being raided by the FBI. In my head canon, in my imagination, I just like to picture like Trump in his Mar-a-Lago home, and he's sitting in a gaming chair, and he's like swearing. He's like, "You noob, I pwned you. Like, we're dropping in, boys. We're dropping in." He's sitting in a dark room. The only thing that's lighting his face is his computer screen. And he's like got McDonald's everywhere. And he's got a controller in his hand and he's playing Fortnite. "Noobs, no, I'm going to swat you. I'm swatting you." And like, that's what the whole Trump SWAT FBI raid was all about. He was just like, if I was his publicist, that would be my defense. I would say, listen, the president was getting swatted. He was playing his favorite Fortnite game, and he was being trolled, and then actually like give some dumb gamer tag like "Come Master 69," and that's what the ex-president was doing, and that's why he did not have any nuclear documents.
Oh man,
it's a dark world out there, but
it is.
Yeah, speaking of which, have you? This is funny. I didn't even know. I was gonna tell you. Well, this doesn't really fit into anything. Let's go into some questions because I don't have a whole lot of time today. I know you got a little bit to do. We have 2 questions, some good ones. One for you specifically that I wanted to ask.
Cool.
Follow it, and I'll do this right before we get into it. Follow us on all of our socials, Next Round on Me Pod. If you like what you're hearing today, make sure you subscribe to YouTube and Twitch at Next Round on Me Pod, and also leave us a 5-star review and tell us what your favorite Fortnite dance is. I don't know, whatever the fuck they tell you. It helps the algorithm. Give us a review on iTunes, on the iTunes podcast app. But anyway, so now into listener questions. Josh, this question is for you. This person specifically said this question is for Josh.
Okay.
Most overrated video game, and have you ever played Multiverses yet? It sucks.
Oh, Multiverse. Oh, okay. They think it sucks. Wow. Okay. I have not. Do you even know what that game is, Dan?
Yeah, it's like the I've heard a lot about it. It's getting memed to hell. It's like the Super Smash Brothers ripoff, but with like
Exactly.
Shaggy and Arya
Oh my
Stark.
gosh, it's hilarious, dude. Shaggy goes like Super Saiyan. I think Superman is in it. They just added LeBron James. Like, it's
Oh dear
hilarious
God.
to
You
watch.
know, man,
But
maybe people do deserve to get swatted. I take it all back.
no, dude, it's
Anyway.
it's hilarious. Yeah, there was another one that came out not too long ago. A lot of people trying to kind of do a Super Smash copycat. There was one with Cat Dog. It was like a Nickelodeon one.
Yes, that I heard about.
Um, yeah. So to the first question about most overrated game. Oh man, that's tough. I try not to be um like super pessimistic about video games. I enjoy most of the games too that are highly reviewed. I'm trying to think. Okay, all right. So we were just talking about Grand Theft Auto earlier, right? But I can take a step back and look at Grand Theft Auto and go, I understand why people like it. I understand why it's a great game. Not a game for me.
Sure.
The game that I always struggled with really understanding. I really never played it. I really never got into it. Oh my gosh, now I actually have two that come to mind.
Okay.
Okay, but the one that really sticks in my mind is Fortnite. Fortnite to me is is a highly overrated game in
Okay.
that it is a battle royale, okay? And there
Yes.
are other battle royales, and almost all of the other battle royales I think are better. I think are just better in so many aspects. Now, I know that's a hot take. Um, I personally feel that video games have taken a turn, and I'm not saying it's taken a turn for the worse or the better or whatever, but I think video games have turned into this thing. It used to be about what are your friends playing? What are
Right.
they playing on, right? Are they playing on Xbox, PlayStation, whatever? And what do you enjoy? And we all went through our periods of like, oh, we played Call of Duty, but some people weren't playing Call of Duty, so some people would play. I don't, I used to play a ton of single player games, and I'd go to school and I'd have friends tell me like, oh, you got to play Darksiders, which I never heard of. And then I saw Dark, and I was like, that game's great. And then I would go back and play a Call of Duty, and then I'd have a friend, oh, you got to play Dishonored. And it was all just like word of mouth. Now what's happening is all of the younger generation, all of the not millennials, because I'm a millennial, Gen Z, whatever, right? Everybody in high school, middle school right now, they're just playing what all of the big content creators are playing, right? So when
Sure.
Ninja and everybody was playing Fortnite, that's all anybody was playing because that was the cool thing to play,
Well, it was
right?
also
I just feel like
free.
it's free, yes, but I just felt like also it's just like everybody's just playing that because like that's what all the cool kids are playing. All the cool kids were Ninja and Nick Merckx and Tim the Tap Man,
Right,
and it
right.
frustrates me. I even look at Warzone right now, dude, and I still feel it's the same way. I don't think Warzone would be alive if it wasn't for Tim and all of these other big content creators still playing it. If
Was that
they
your
moved
second answer?
on, no, it wasn't. It was gonna be
Okay, okay.
Minecraft. Minecraft is
Really?
but Minecraft is under the same umbrella as GTA, where I get it. It's not for me, but I get it.
Right.
Fortnite, I just don't get. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. There's so like for me, like the movement of battle royale is super important. The movement feels terrible in
Right.
Fortnite, like other than when you get to be Spider-Man and there's all these like plunger things that like pull you. You just play Bob the Builder and build a castle up to the
That's the
sky every time
appeal,
somebody.
though, I feel like,
Oh
is
my
the
gosh, I
crossover.
no, I
It's
just
all
it's just
everything's and that's the thing, like, we were even bringing that up with you even mentioned that with multiverses. It seems like now everything has to be and you know what I
I
blame
hate
this
it.
on? We can blame this on
Marvel,
our good old friend, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where
100%.
everything has to be connected. The new, like, I mean, I guess you could say the new Space Jam was like this, where it's like we have to bring in all the Warner Brothers characters. Ready Player One was a big culprit of this. We're going to have this sci-fi adventure movie. and it's like gonna feature, but the Iron Giant isn't for some reason. All these lovable characters from when you were a kid, they all have to come together. And I think that's something that Fortnite is why I think that's why Fortnite has the legs that it does, because every other month it's you like Dragon Ball kids, you like whatever new movies coming out, you like, and it's that cartoony aesthetic. It's free. Every kid can play it. You don't need to have like, it's that easy.
I mean, I get it in that aspect, but like, and so I mean,
You're
there's
saying
a
it's just
difference
objectively
between,
a terrible game.
I don't want to say objectively. I think objectively, in my opinion, not just, I mean, that's, yeah.
Of course.
I just think if I had to pick an overrated game, that game's extremely overrated. I think that game is doing so well and is so popular. I'm going to give it some credit here. What they do a great job of is they are constantly updating the game. So many, quote, live service games nowadays struggle to come out with stuff at a decent pace.
That's
so,
true.
right. So if you're playing Call of Duty, if you're playing Apex, whatever, it's like, okay, you play it for a couple weeks, a month, and then you get to a point where you're like, okay, like, can we like spice things up a little bit? And a lot of times it takes these developers a lot of time. So then like 2, 3, 4 months to come out with new ideas and to come out with new stuff, because not only does it take time to just be creative and come up with new ideas, but then you have to code it, you have to implement it. Like, it's not just like, okay, here you go, here's a new gun, and they just throw it at the computer screen and it gets added to the game, right? These are complicated things. What whoever makes Fortnite, I can't remember any developers' names nowadays. They've done a great job at coming out with stuff at a good pace. So
Right.
as soon as you start to get bored, something new comes out. I just think it's just not enough. The gameplay is so simplistic, and I understand this. The skill ceiling is huge, but it's just not fun. And I just think people give it all of this praise, and I'm like, it's a free battle royale. Like, I understand that appeal of it, but it is not this god game. Like,
It's
the
because you're a
developers.
much more seasoned gamer without sounding pretentious, but
But I mean, but that's an absolutely pretentious thing to say. And yes, you're
Right.
100% right. Like, I'm being snobby and annoyed that this
But you
game
have higher
came out.
standards. It makes
Like,
sense.
yeah, I just never connected with me. So if I had to pick the most overrated game, that's one of the first thing that comes to mind. I'm sure if I did some research and I looked at games and reviews and ones that were extremely high, I could come up with maybe even a better answer. But that's kind of relevant what popped into my head. And what was the second part to the question? Oh, just the multiverse. What do I think of it?
Have you played it?
I haven't played it. It looks interesting. It looks funny. I mean, we're talking about LeBron James fighting Superman or Shaggy going Super Saiyan. Like, it's hilarious. I think it's going to be a microtransaction hell. As always,
Right.
the game's free. My buddy's been playing it. He's already showed me the skins. You can get a Shaggy skin where he's got like a monocle, and it looks hilarious and dope. And I was
Dear
like,
God.
I'd buy that skin if I was playing the game. Luckily, I'm not yet. So I've never got super into those games just because those games can really get how do I like if you play that game online, that game's fun for me to play with my friends. If I play
Right.
online, I'm gonna get demolished by
Right.
some guy who plays that game like nonstop, and I'm gonna get mad, and it's not gonna be fun for me. But like, if my friends come over and we have a couple drinks, I will absolutely play Smash or Multiverse or something like that. And to have LeBron James bouncing a basketball in an arena, like throwing it at Bugs Bunny head or something, like, that's how can you not have fun for that? And it's free, right? Once again, the appeal to like Fortnite and a lot of these games nowadays. I think that's where a lot of video games are going to go. I think it's the right way to go, but I also think it's a scary road to go down, because then you spend hundreds of dollars over years, like, getting all of these different small little things in the game because it was
Right.
free. So
Exactly.
anyway, great question. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. And I got to hop out in a minute, so we'll end on this one. We're pre-recording this because I'm going to be in Jersey the time that this episode comes out. But this is a good one for both of us. Just very simple. Favorite actor? I think this might have been the same person. They're both anonymous, but thank you for the question.
Okay. Yeah, good. Another good question. You go first. I need some time to think. Favorite actor?
So I've always had an easy answer for this. My
Okay.
favorite actor has always been, and always probably will be, Samuel Jackson.
Oh, God. Okay.
Mace Windu himself.
Okay.
He is the star of my favorite movie, Pulp Fiction. he's not a he's a great actor, but he's not like the most versatile actor. He comes into every movie. He's like in so many movies, right? And he's just always comes in and he does the Samuel Jackson thing, like motherfucker, like I'm sick of these motherfucking snakes on the motherfucking plane, and like that's just him. He's like, but he's such a great presence, and I've always every time I see Samuel Jackson pop up in a movie, I'm always just like, oh, thank God Sam Jackson's here. And I feel like he's never won an Oscar. He should have won for Django Unchained. And I love that man so much. He's definitely not like he's not like a great character actor. He's not like a Daniel Day-Lewis or a, Tilda Swinton or anything, but he's playing kind of himself a little bit, but he's given amazing performances. I watch the end of that end scene in the diner of Pulp Fiction regularly. But yeah, no, I even remember when I was a kid, watching the Star Wars prequels, and like I remember like I saw Mace Windu come in with the purple lightsaber. I'm like, oh, that's the black guy that's in every movie. Like
Exactly. Yes.
I remember thinking that as a kid, and I never even knew his name. But yeah, man, I love Sam Jackson. So that's my answer.
God. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to give an answer because I feel the need to, but I'm also going to say I want to redo. So next episode, before we talk about anything, I'm going to have a better answer. Okay. Because I have a lot of different things in mind, but I feel like in order to answer this question, it needs to be an actor that I've seen in multiple movies, right? It can't just be like, I saw this guy or this girl in one movie and I thought they did a great job. Because a lot of that kind of stuff comes to mind. So it needs to be somebody like Samuel L. Jackson, where it's like, dude, you've seen him in multiple movies. Like he does a great job. Like you like him. So I don't know why. Maybe it's because I just recently watched the clip and I love it. It was one of my favorite scenes in the movie in The Social Network with Andrew Garfield, where
that's a great answer.
Where he walks down and he's like, Mark, and then he's just like, he's plugged in. Is he? And he just picks the thing up, slams the Mac down on the ground. And that scene gave me chills, man. Like,
that's a great answer for you. I could so see you like connecting with an Andrew Garfield type.
So like he did a great job in that movie, I felt, and he's been in some other movies. I, wasn't the biggest fan of his Spider-Man movies, but I don't think that was because of him.
Sure.
So that's going to be my answer for now, but I'm going to come up with a better answer. I've just never really thought about who is my favorite actor. So I'm going to dig a little deeper and figure out a good answer for that. But for now, that will be my temporary answer. Answer will be Andrew Garfield.
Awesome. All right. No, that's a great answer, Andrew Garfield. But okay. All right. I got to hop out of here, folks. So, a little bit of a shorter one this week, but like I said, your boy's on vacation. We're going to have some stories, hopefully, when we come back from Josh at Atlantic City. He's going to hit it big or, wake up in a bathtub of ice without his kidney. And I will be in Jersey, and I'll come back with frosted tips and some new tribal tattoos. So, again, follow, if you liked what you heard today, follow on Instagram, Next Round on Me Pod. Leave us a review on iTunes, helps out with the algorithm, and on YouTube on Next Round on Me. And thank you all for listening. I love you all. Stay safe out there this summer. And don't get swatted.
Don't get swatted.
Bye, everyone.
Deuces.
And stop recording.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for doing that.